Thank you for sticking to the end. 생각보다 되게 많이 남으셔가지고 원래 마지막 세션은 항상 조금 이제 한산하고 좀 우리끼리 이제 수다 떠는 그런 때인데 되게 주목이 많이 될 것 같아서 좀 부담스럽기도 하고. Should we do Korean and English mix? I think that would be a nice mix, right?
Sure.
All right. So why don't we just go around and do a quick intro about ourselves? So America Kang, I'm the founder of KryptoPlanet, Soul as well, and hosted BitAlasia, Ethos, and SheFi Summit. The entire week has been quite a bizarre week. But yeah, I wanted to introduce some of my amazing panelists. So Rim, do you want to go first?
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Erica, by the way, for inviting me on the panel. It's a big honor. Hi, I'm Rim from Proximity. Proximity, apparently my co-founder likes to call Proximity the consensus of near. So I'm going to go with that tagline.
Where does that come from?
Because we do BD, we do software development, we do product strategy investments. So we kind of used to take care of the DeFi ecosystem on Near, and now we're focusing more on the chain abstraction tech that Near is pioneering, and I do community and marketing there.
Great. Bora?
Hi everyone, I am Bora. I have been mostly on the Cosmos ecosystem. I was formerly contributor of Kepler Wallet and Osmosis. Now I've joined a new team called Ethos. We're trying to bring the restaked ETH from Eigenlayer to secure the new Cosmos chains. Really thank you, Erica, so much. I am also, as an EVA alumni, I'm really honored to be here. 안녕하세요. 저는 남보라라고 하고요. 저는 기존에 체리님이 공부하셨던 솔라나 말고 코스모스라는 체인에서 생태계에서 조금 한 2년 정도 있었고, 네, 저도 이화 버스로서 여기 자리에 설 수 있어서 너무 영광입니다.
네, 저도 체리님이 공부하셨던 니어라는 스쳐가셨지만
니어, 코스모스, 솔라나 이렇게.
Hello, I'm Chaerin here from the Solana Foundation. So I'm managing APAC market and Korean market. And I was a developer before in the Solana Foundation. I was an Ethereum developer, and now I'm Solana developer these days. So it's an honor to be here today.
Great. So I forgot to mention that we have a very high density EHA rate here. 이화 3명 alumni, 저도 이화.
I'm from 이화.
represent. I mean, it's amazing to host it on campus, right? I mean, 저 진짜 오면서 감동받아서 약간 눈물 났어. And also we have diverse roles as well. We have marketing BD, dev role, and engineer. And so I think it's a very community as well. So it's a very diverse role. Let's kind of talk about our journey, like how we got into Web3. 처음에 이제 들어올 때 너무 좀 힘들고 어떻게 보면 좀 entry barrier가 높잖아요. 그래서 그런 거 어떻게 들어오게 되셨는지 좀 스토리가 궁금하거든요. So called like the rabbit hole in crypto. Rim, do you want to go first?
So I would say I came in through the community track. I would say I don't have a computer science or engineering background. I actually studied philosophy. I have like a master's in philosophy. And then it was completely coincidental. My friend from college, he was really into blockchain, and that he had discovered the Near white paper right before it did its coin launch. And then he was like, there's no one in the ecosystem. We need to do education. We need to do community. So he brought all of his former philosophy friends who knew how to read and write. So I became one of them, and then I joined, and then he just gave me like half an ETH per month to do research part-time. And and then I started going on Telegram and Discord. Everything was new. I barely knew what Bitcoin was when I first joined around 3 years ago. And then I went down the rabbit hole on the community side, and then I learned, it's really fun here, and I like being helpful, telling people where to go and like how to get help. And then I naturally picked up some of the lingo, some of the technology as I did the research for the educational role. And now, I've partaken in a lot of different DAOs in the ecosystem, and then I took part in an ecosystem project, and then I got scouted for my current company. So I really made it through the ropes of the community to where I am today. In 한국어로 하면 약간 좀 야매로 들어왔어요. 전혀 배경이
야매로 들어오는
전혀 저는 크립토도 모르고 비트코인도 겨우 뭔지 알고 하면서 제 대학 친구가 꼬셔서 이제 글을 좀 써봐라 공부를 하면서 그러면서 이제 이더리움을 받으면서 공부를 했는데 그러다가 이제 생태계 프로젝트도 알게 되고 다오에도 참여하고 하다가 이제 정식으로 회사에 입사를 하게 된 케이스입니다.
No, I think everybody enters like through a like a so-called rabbit hole, but through somebody, through something, but a very random coincidence, right? I joined because I was invited to a meetup, and very random, like, okay, this is blockchain. Like, what is this? I had no information, right? And then since then, I was just like, whoop, into the rabbit hole. So I think the randomness of this is also attractive as well. It's just like pulls us in. Yeah, Bora?
Yeah, there's this hacker house in Korea called Nons in the middle of Gangnam. All my friends just recommended me to like live there together, and then I used to live there. And all these people were like saying, "Hey, boy, you gotta buy Bitcoin." And I was like, "What is Bitcoin? Like, I don't really know what that is." And then I started investing. It went a little up, and then I was satisfied. Then I went into DeFi, and that was a lot of my mistake because like 90% of my asset was like went down, and I decided like, oh, I gotta study this, not just like invest, not to be a degen. But yeah, and then I gathered some of my friends together. We studied like blockchain, just like what Chain did. And I studied a lot of this core ecosystems like Ethereum, like Near, Solana, Cosmos. And then Cosmos really made sense to me because I really believe that blockchains would be interoperable with each other. So yeah, that's how I got into crypto, and I started learning, and I think I learned more by like working in Kepler Wallet. 저는 논스라는 같이 코워킹 콜리빙 스페이스가 있어요. 에리카님도 많이 방문하셨던, 그리고 에리카님도 많이 아시는.
저 처음 시작할 때
그쵸.
논스 시작하기도 전에 그 팟캐스트 할 때 저 같이 했었어요.
와, 역시.
Before the origin of Nons, I remember I joined a podcast with the founders of Nons, and that was called like the Blockchainers back in the day. And you can still say on YouTube, I think.
Really?
I think it's in the Nons channel. And I was like one of the little like person in the middle.
Really?
I started learning then through the founders there. So yeah, that was my genesis point.
That's so cool.
Yeah. 체리님?
Yeah, so I'm from Jeju Island. So 4 years ago, the Jeju government wanted to make the blockchain provenance at the time. So there's so many meetups in Jeju Island. So I went there because I was the computer science lover and I want to go to the university as a computer science major. So I went there and I saw the academic lecture from there. So there was the Web3 lecture. So I learned about the trilemma, about the blockchain and the other Web3 project. And there was an early stage of the blockchain. So I started from that meetup, and I kept to host the blockchain meetup in Jeju Island from that time. So it was so fun because my friends So I went to the science high school, so my friends wanted to run AI stuff or the computer science vision because of was the major point about the computer science sector. But I wanted to be a special person about that, so I picked the blockchain, and I started to fall in love in the blockchain at the time. So from that, I started to run blockchain, and I entered the Ewha University as a computer science major, and I entered the Ewha chain, the blockchain academic club in the Ewha University, and I after that I can be the president of the Ewha chain. So I started to be a DGen in the blockchain ecosystem in South Korea.
Wow. DGen, so cool. I mean, I started in 2017, so that was like very scarce resources. But I mean, I guess like even now it's still pretty, I should say scarce, but not like too much available, I should say. But I just wonder like how you garnered information, how you did your first education because like you didn't know much, right, when you entered. What sources you found interesting or like actually helpful? And maybe you can get some tips to the audience as well. 뭐 레퍼런스 같은 거 있으시면 뭐 자료나 뭐 아니면 뭐 채널을 봤다던가 뭐 이런 거 혹시 좀 공유해 주실 만한 거, like Korean or English, like both would be nice.
Yeah, so for me, I'm not super technical, obviously, but I think I can at least explain, for instance, if we launch a product, I can explain to you in layman terms what the product's about, what its significance is, and then I can tell you, near blockchain, what is proof of stake, how does gas fees work, do you have an auction system? I can at least tell you that. And with that information, that's very basic. That's stuff that you can find on near.org. There are educational resources for every chain that every foundation or the community puts up. There are a bunch of YouTube resources, like Ilya, who's the co-founder of Near. He has great whiteboard series on YouTube where he meets another founder from another chain, and they do exactly what's the difference between Solana and Near, what's the difference between Cosmos and Near, or something like that. So I just immerse myself in all of the available online resources. And a lot of the times I was helped by, like you said, I picked it up during work. So my work was, hey, we want to do a series on the Near account model. Can you dive into the docs, do your recapitulate your user experience and write about it? And when you are researching and then you digest it into a written form or like a video form, that literally is the research you have to do to learn about your chain anyways. And then I think additionally, what I really did well, and I feel like I was really good at faking it till I made it, which is that I learned through conversations. So just meet a lot of people, meet people you work with, meet people at conferences, just ask for a chat with random people in the community that you think is cool and knows a lot of stuff. And just listen to the way that they're talking about things, and then write down some of the things that you think is interesting, and then go down that reference, go down that rabbit hole. And then at some point, within a few months, within a year, you'll know everything you need to know about your ecosystem or your project. For me, it's very close to what I did in philosophy. You just read and write and read and write. Yeah. And then,
I really wanted to point out to ask, don't be scared to ask stupid questions, even though you think it's stupid, because when we were in Korea, we grew up just being a little bit scared to ask questions. But in conferences, a lot of people, also founders, they're really chill, and they're really humble. If you just ask hey, for example, what does proximity do? And they will just tell you what it is in a really simple way. So I think just wanted to point out, don't be afraid to meet new people, learn from them. And also, I think it's a really good point that you mentioned, learn, read, learn, write. And I also wanted to say maybe I think studying together is really a nice way, right? I think I learned from that, like Ihwa chain, for example, just gather together, just you teach to someone. I think that's the fastest way you can learn. And also, I really recommend you guys to learn from Twitter. I learned so much alphas from Twitter.
100%.
There are so many new launching projects to read the whole Twitter threads, maybe follow what the founders are following. If you just go through that series, I think it's really fast to learn.
I used to have a must follow Twitter list in the beginning. Yeah. So I made this bookmark of every founder that I should be following. And it really helped, right? It has a very nice information, filtered information, basically. Good point.
I think I have learned from the Ihwa chain, the blockchain club of the Ihwa University, because there's so many collaboration opportunities with the global foundations and the protocols. And I have a lot because of they provide also materials or the testings and the hackathons or other the developer sessions. So I think that when I was a high school student and I was a freshman, so I started to learn about the blockchain from the documentations. But documentation is so difficult to understand, to be honest. So I think the community is the best option for the running the ecosystem and the follow up all of things from the blockchain, because documentation, almost of the documentations are outdated because of the resources. So I think entering the hackathon, register hackathon, and talking with the friends and investing in some the coins or tokens makes me more the
Stake.
Yeah.
I want to learn.
Yeah.
Not financial advice, though.
Yeah. Not financial advice, but yeah, it could be more challenging, but it is the fastest way to involve in the Web3 ecosystem these days, in my opinion. Yeah.
That's great. I mean, for me, I started listening to Epicenter by Brian Crane. So Brian was a speaker at Middle Asia. He's my good friend as well. But I was a big fan of the Epicenter podcast, although I didn't understand most of it. But still, I got to meet all the good founders in this space. If you follow the channel, you get to like exposure to so many things. Of course, Elia's Whiteboard series was also one of my favorites. So I was like listening to all these, and the chopping block these days is pretty fun too. Spicy topics, just like fun banter. 그래서 이제 영어로 이제 알아듣기가 사실 좀 쉽진 않아요. 뭐라 빠르고 내용이 너무 어려워서 그러니까 한국인 입장으로서는 진짜 약간 뇌가 약간 정지된 느낌이긴 하지만 저는 슬로우로 많이 들었어요. 슬로우로 해가지고 많이 듣고 처음에는 진짜 jargon 그 뭐지 책 뭐라지 그 전문 용어 이런 게 좀 이해가 안 돼가지고 대체 무슨 얘기나 천천히 들었는데 it really helped. 그래도 그나마 조금 도움이 되고 계속 들으면 확실히 이게 뇌에 박히는 게 있어요. 트위터도 마찬가지로 계속 보면은 그게 뭔가 스탠드아웃 하는 게 보이더라고요. 그래서 키워드가 보이고 뭔가 이제 이 사람들은 제대로 말을 하는 사람들이구나 이게 보여요. And I met like millions of people by now, I think, in crypto. I met so many people in like meetups. I host my own meetups, right? And the whole point of hosting meetups is to gather everyone in one place and meet them all together. 한 번에 한 큐로 그냥 해결하는 거. Efficiency. Yeah, that was efficiency, right? That was my like motivation in starting meetups actually. 처음에 한 번에 다 모아보자. Like just starting. 그래서 게으르기도 해서 한 번에 그냥 모으는 게 좀 효과적이어서 아무튼 그렇게 시작을 했습니다. Yeah, it's fun. Thank you. Let's see. So I guess like the global aspect, right? I mean, the topic of this panel is kind of going global. And the reason why I pulled you together is as Koreans, right? And I think Bora mentioned, like, we're timid, well, generally, we're timid to ask questions. We're not used to be outward. We're not used to be like, boasting. Like I cannot sell myself that well. 그러니까 한국 분들, 그러니까 아무래도 좀 샤이하시고 아무리 능력이 있어도 사실 조금 이렇게 좀 뒷걸음질을 치시는 것 같아요. 약간 좀 자신이 없다고 이제 많이 말씀을 하시는데 좀 그러니까 크립토에서는 이제 어쨌든 간에 내밀어야 되거든요. Like 정말 you gotta just like go out there, right? And I just like the reason why I invited you was I think you guys are really good at that, and you're like upcoming, like outstanding women. So I was wondering how you did it, and like maybe some things that you faced, for example, as challenges, but like how you overcame it and stuff like that, and just kind of share your stories.
I think really, really honestly, in the beginning, I was just so fascinated. And I think genuine curiosity really helps. And especially someone who's coming from like an academic setting and a non-technical background, and someone who's not really familiar with anything like financial, especially like stuff that's on the blockchain. Everything was really new and fast, which is what drew me into the space in the beginning. And what I did was simply just talk to everyone. And then what also really helped was being in the community, whether it's a Telegram, Discord, or Twitter, and then just seeing what people are talking about, replying to them, engaging in the discourse. If someone asks a question and you're like, oh, I actually don't know how to answer this. It's a simple question, but like, I actually don't know how to answer this. And then you do research and then you come back, you have an answer, and then you're connected to another person. So I think not being intimidated is super important, like we've all mentioned here. And I mean in the sense of, even when you're learning, even when you're talking to people, when you're asking a question, I always like to think, actually, if you talk to a lot of people who are in crypto, you ask them about what is a validator, they can't answer you, to be honest. So just look at them and think, oh, at least I know how to, like, the bar's not that high. Like, there are a lot of really brilliant engineers, there are a lot of brilliant founders, but they're also, because the space is so young and nascent, and it's like, there's very unstructured, you need to also recognize that you don't really need to have this imposter syndrome. You can just ask stupid questions. Everyone is just as dumb as you are, if not dumber, and just have this kind of distance with this. And I think as women, and I think as Asian women, that happens a lot, where you kind of put yourself down more. You're much more easier to be humble and think this person knows more than I do. This person's been in the space longer. Just think of yourself as, oh, I just came out of Harvard Business School and I'm going into my first Wall Street interview. Just put yourself in that mindset. Just be bold and courageous and be willing to be stupid. And it's fine because no one has their shit together that much. So just like 너무 두려워 마세요. 왜냐면 사실 그 수준이 그렇게 높지 않아요. 평균적으로 보면. 그래서 조금만 하면은 쉴 수도 있고 많이 배울 수도 있다는 거를.
또 우리가 좀 이렇게 기준이 너무 높잖아요. 기본적으로 뭔가 완벽해야 된다. 저도 완벽주의 좀 있거든요. 그래서 좀 스스로 피곤한데 그러니까 완벽해야 된다는 기준이 있는데 그걸 미달하면은 I'm not good enough. 그러니까 나는 이렇게 말할 자격이 없다라고 얘기를 생각하는 것 스스로. 근데 사실 Web3 is kind of, I mean, in any field for that matter, yeah, I mean, like you really have to learn by doing as well. And you start from scratch anyway. Anybody starts from scratch. And so nobody's really, 사실 이제 척하는 사람 너무 많아서. So I really encourage women, like Korean women as well, to like not shy out, just kind of, say, hey, I'm learning now and I want to learn. I'm very passionate. And that really is the key in Web3, the passion to really go forward with your career, right? And so, yeah, thank you for that.
I really agree to that point. But for me, like, because I wasn't on the engineering background, I always wanted to understand more of the engineer side. And when I talk with like other business development people, they were like, oh, hey, you know what? I'm not technical. Let me just like connect you with our DevRel engineer. I didn't want to be like someone who's like that. So I try to study more of technical things. And what I did was I think there were like two ways. Firstly, just organize like a small meetup because there weren't many meetups in Cosmos, and just and when you know some people, they kind of ask for help. For example, in Korea, so I just like helped out organizing, and that kind of made me connect with more people. Erica just like mentioned, like she just gathers everyone around. So, and I think that's a really good strategy, right? Because like you can really meet that people, you can just see the panels, just like and speaks like the pitches just in front of you. I think that's really nice, and also you get to like mingle with them, like much like deeper. Another way was I also involved in hackathons. I just like got my engineer friends like, hey, I'm curious about like Lens protocol. Let's maybe, read the APIs. Let's maybe come up with some ideas. Let's go to Seoul, maybe like ideate, and then let's come up with a cool project. Just like takes 2 or 3 days. You just grind for a weekend. Just like a cool thing and a fun thing to do with your friends.
You don't need to be technical to be in a hackathon,
exactly.
Right? You can be a designer. You could be, marketing. It has to look good for user friendly, right? And so you just gather a few dev friends. I mean, I'm not technical. You're not technical, right? I mean, Chaerin is
technical person.
the queen. But I think there is definitely a space for us to like really grow with the technical crowd.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. So that's a very good tactic. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a technical person, so it's so opposite from the side. So yeah, my biggest challenge is talking with the major corporations in South Korea, to be honest, because I don't have any business background before the Joint Foundation. I was a developer, so I don't know about the business, the pipeline, and how to cooking with deals. So it was so difficult to talking with the BDs from the companies. So 네, 제가 사실은 컴퓨터 공학 백그라운드를 갖고 있기 때문에 사실은 오히려 비즈니스 분들과 얘기가 굉장히 어려웠어요. 왜냐면 사실은 저는 굉장히 이제 그런 그 업계 분들보다 굉장히 많이 어리기 때문에 사실은 전문성이 많이 없어 보이기도 하고요. 그리고 어떻게 미팅을 이끌어가는지 사실 처음에 감이 전혀 잡히지 않았어요. 지금은 사실은 굉장히 자연스럽게 하는데 처음에 할 때쯤에는 이걸 어떻게 해야 되나. 왜냐하면 이제 분명 이제 시니어분이 있으면 사실은 좀 더 원활하게 할 수가 있는데 사실 제가 처음 비즈니스를 맡게 됐을 때는 시니어분이 거의 안 계셨거든요. 그래서 좀 많이 시행착오를 하면서 배웠던 것 같아요. 그러니까 제가 처음에 뭔가 제가 프로페셔널하게 보이지 않으려고 노력을 하진 않았어요. 그러니까 프로페셔널하게 보이려고 했는데 어차피 티가 나니까 언제부턴가는 그냥 내려놨어요. 그리고 그냥 배웠어요. 제가 혹시 이렇게 보내드리면 괜찮을까요? 뭐 이렇게 많이 물어보고 그래서 저한테 굉장히 많이 조언을 주신 분들이 되게 많았어요. 예를 들면 뭐 엄청 기본적인 것들 있잖아요. 뭐 사회생활 매너에서. 그래서 제가 아무래도 글로벌 기업에 다니고 있다 보니까 살짝 한국 문화, 비즈니스 매너랑은 좀 많이 다르니까 그런 분들이 체리님 이럴 때 대기업이랑 소통하실 때는 지금 하고 계시는 것들을 다 완성시켜 보내는 게 아니라 조금씩 팔로우업을 하면서 업데이트를 먼저 주시면서 하는 게 더 저희가 일하기가 편해요. 이런 식으로 되게 피드백을 많이 주셨어요. 지금 굉장히 프로페셔널한 척, 애기가 아닌 척 일하고 있지만 처음에는 굉장히 힘들었던 것 같습니다. 네.
맞아요. 너무 좋은. 그러니까 다들 그 시작점도 다르고 그다음에 역할도 다르고 그다음에 그렇지만 비슷한 것 같아요. 어떤 면에서 uncomfortable and just unsettling, right? Yeah, so unpredictable as well. So thank you for sharing these stories. Let's kind of like maybe talk about like in the perspective of people in Korea. 그러니까 한국에 계신 분들한테 그러니까 아무래도 글로벌하게 나가고는 싶고, but how to, right? 그러니까 어떤 걸 follow하고 어떤 기회를 잡아야 되는지 이랬을 때 좀 그런 기준에서 어떤 조언을 주실 수 있는 게 있는지, something to look forward to or participate in, or 뭐 기회를 잡으려면 사실은 좀 you gotta go out there. 맨날 나갈 수는 없으니까 뭐 국내에서라도 국내나 해외 약간 좀 이렇게 각자 이코시스템 안에서 뭐 활발하게 진행 중인 게 있다던가 이런 걸 조금 소개해 주시는 것도 괜찮을 것 같아요.
일단 제 경험에서 빌려서 얘기를 하면 저 같은 경우에도 처음에 그냥 진짜 디스코드 멤버 한 명이었다가 저 활발하게 이렇게 꾸준하게 하는 사람이 없으니까 이렇게 뭐 모더레이터를 시켜주고, 왜냐면 일을 해주면 고맙잖아요. 그 프로젝트 입장에서는 그런 사람이 없고, 그리고 그렇게 하다가 이제 처음에 어디 덱스에 다오를 시작한다고 했을 때 커뮤니티의 사람이 꾸준하고 뭔가 성실하고 기여를 하고 뭔가 의견이 있는 사람들이 그렇게 많지 않거든요. 왜냐면 전반적으로 인원이 적기 때문에. 그래서 눈에 띄기가 되게 쉽다고 생각을 해요. 근데 눈에 띄면 뭐 다오 같은 데도 들어가고 그런 거 이제 발품 팔아서 그렇게 조금씩 눈에 띄기 시작하면 사람들은 어쨌든 특히 웹3에서는 다른 데에서는 뭐 CV 같은 것도 중요하고 학력 같은 것도 중요할 수 있지만 웹3에서는 진짜 증명할 수 있는 기록이 되게 중요하다고 생각을 하거든요. 만약에 내가 모더레이터고 커뮤니티 사람이면 커뮤니티에서 나의 레퓨테이션 그런 게 중요하고, 트위터에서의 나의 레퓨테이션, 아니면 뭐 내가 데브면 깃허브에서의 나의 어떤 이력이 되게 중요하고 실제로 커밋을 얼마나 많이 했느냐 증명할 수 있는 게 중요하고, 내가 뭐 마케팅이나 뭐 프로덕트다 하면은 트위터를 꾸준히 하세요. 왜냐면은 조금 사람이 처음에 없어도 꾸준히 자기의 전문적인 얘기를 하다 보면은 그게 자기 PR이 되고 그 트위터에서 눈에 띄어서 연락이 가고 연락하기가 쉬워지고, 그래서 일을 구하는 거 되게 많거든요. 그래서 저는 발품 파는 거 당연히 추천을 하고, 눈에 띄는 게 생각보다 어렵지 않기 때문에 눈에 띌 만큼의 뭔가를 하고, 뭐 해커톤에서 작은 상이라도 얻었다, 누구랑 컨택이 닿았다, 이런 것도 다 좋은 방법이고, 그렇게 하면, 그리고 꾸준하게 그거를 계속 뭐 6개월, 1년 하다 보면 사실 일자리를 사람들이 데려가려고 좀 난리를 필 거거든요. 왜냐하면 뭔가 꾸준하게 증명을 할 수 있는 사람이 그렇게 많지 않기 때문에 조금이라도 그런 가능성이 있으면 다들 데려가려고 난리예요. 물론 C레벨이 바로 되고 이런 거랑은 전혀 상관이 없고 그거는 아예 다른 얘기지만, 그런 식으로 해서 차근차근 올라가는 길은 생각보다 어렵지 않다. 다른 분야에 비해서 오히려 진입 장벽이 낮을 수도 있다. 그런 얘기를 좀 해드리고 싶어요.
Consistency is key.
Yeah, 100%. Like no one, like even if your role is just after a sync, writing the notes up and then sharing it in the group chat, and you do that consistently every week, you become something of true value because no one's actually stepping up to do that. The biggest thing I think I really like the way that framed it earlier in her talk, is that everything's permissionless, which on the flip side means that no one's going to tell you what to do, which means that you have to be super proactive, but being proactive makes you stand out really easily. 그래서 조금 나대라고 저는 추천을 해드리고 싶어요. 어떤 방식이?
정보를 추가한 나댐. 유익한 정보. 그러니까 저 같은 경우는 like I hosted like back in the day, 2017, I started hosting small meetups, like monthly, like once every month in Seoul. 한 달에 한 번씩, I did that for like years, like 3 years, 4 years. And it was really intense, honestly. It was really hard. And it was like 80 people like every time. But like, I mean, it was very good. But at the same time, like, who do I invite and so forth? It was very hard. And June knows that from back in the day. We started pretty small, but it was very consistent. And at the same time, I posted a lot of the news in Korean every day almost. Like I was posting on group chats and say, hey, this is what's happening in crypto. I did my YouTube channel. I mean, like, it was very consistent. And remember, I did the Erica show. I had an interview series with founders. Not Ilya, not included.
Wasn't big enough back then.
Exactly. No, that's kidding. No, that's kidding. And I interviewed about 50 founders in this span. So once every week during COVID. And everyone remembers me from that, actually. They're like, I mean, I don't commercialize anything, but the fact that I did something really, really consistent over like 7 years now, this means a lot, and it's my 8th year in crypto, and I'm still very active, right? And so yeah, passion, consistency. 네.
너무 재밌게 듣느라 제가 무슨 말을 하지 까먹었는데 무슨 말을 했었냐. 저는 이런 미드업들 좀 많이 활용하라고 말씀드리고 싶어요. 비드라시아가 이번에 사이드 이벤트가 한 50개 넘었거든요.
50개 넘었어요.
진짜
50 사이드 이벤트.
그게 일반적인 그 외국에 나가는 컨퍼런스에도 진짜 비등한 정말 동등한 수준으로 진짜 많은 프로젝트들이 이번에 진짜 많이 와서 저도 막 캐치업하기 어려울 정도로 진짜 많았고, 그리고 한국에서도 뭐 비드라시아, KBW 이런 행사들이 있으니까 그런 것도 한번 참여를 해보시고, 꼭 메인 이벤트 아니더라도 사이드 이벤트들이 많아요. 그래서 그런 뭐 예를 들면 뭐 크립토플래닛 그 웹사이트 가보시면 그런 데 사이드 이벤트들 정리되어 있으니 그런 데 한번 가보시고, 그냥 가서 그냥 바보 같은 질문이라도 던져보시고, 나 뭐 잡 오퍼튜니티 찾고 있다. 아까
뉴비다.
네, 그냥 나 잘 모른다.
모른다.
네, 그냥 솔직히 물어보면 그냥 다들 모르냐 이러면서 이렇게 잘 알려주려고 하세요. 근데 뭐 잘 안 알려주는 분이면 뭐 그냥 뭐 다른 분도 잘 알려주는 다른 분 만나면 되고, 그냥 거절당하는 거 너무 두려워하지 말고 그냥 계속 한 방씩 질문하고, 뭐 같이 그 예를 들면 어떤 패널 같은 게 열렸다 하면 그런 거 관련된 뭐 트위터 스레드를 요약해서 이렇게 정리를 해본다든지, 뭐 사람들 만나서 그냥 콜드메일을 보내본다든지, 그러니까 이런 식으로 좀 더 많이 만나서 하라고 좀 조언드리고 싶고, 그리고 그 말고라도 저는 가까운 뭐 홍콩이나 뭐 일본이나 이런 데도 많이 열리거든요. 근데 저는 옛날에는 제가 학생일 때 너무 돈이 아까운 거예요. 이 몇십만 원을 투자하기가. 그래서 이거 너무 돈 아까운데 이렇게 하다가 또 이제는 그래도 해커톤에서 돈 따오면 되지, 그러니까 이런 생각으로 그냥 가서
좀 사야 되지.
그냥 가서. 근데 지금 투자예요, 정말. 저는 제가 이 말하기도 좋아요. 정말 투자니까 그냥 가까운 해외라도 가서 한번 또 이렇게 똑같이 뭐 바보 같은 질문 해보시고 자기소개 해보시고 하면서 해커톤도 나가보시고 하면 또 약간 감이 쫙 잡히실 거예요. 이런 거구나. 딱 이런 게 있으면 그때부터는 좀 더 쉬워질 것 같습니다.
I think like FYI, like this kind of like speaking on addition to that. So she mentioned like going to like close countries, like because Korea and like maybe neighboring Japan and maybe Hong Kong is not that costly, right? And there's Web3 festival happening right like this week, next week. It's happening from the 5th actually in Hong Kong if you want to check it out. And also there's a EdCon happening in July in Tokyo. By the University of Ethereum, so they're hosting that, and so I might be able to go there as well. But just FYI, it's like opportunity is pretty near. It's close. Sorry, I suddenly changed. That's proximity. That's good. Sorry. Because Solana는, it was very good to like use Solana as Solana. 그 마케팅 툴로 진짜 좋았어요. Anyway, FYI. 아무튼 죄송합니다. 체리님까지.
그러니까 저는 일단 학생이니까 현실적으로 뭔가 학생으로서 약간 웹3
좋아요.
오퍼튜니티를 가질 수 있는지를 좀 현실적으로 말씀을 드리자면 어렵습니다. 저는 그러니까 사실 저도 운이 좋았다고 생각하고, 왜냐하면 일단 첫 번째로는 일단은 보통은 한국 시장에 이제 델리게이트 되는 사람들은 보통은 좀 그런 경력이 많은 사람을 선호를 해요. 왜냐면 한국 시장에는 한 명만 넣어야 되거든요. 근데 그 한 명 넣는 거를 주니어를 보통 놓진 않아요. 근데 저도 살짝은 저는 제가 원래 시니어가 있다가 시니어가 없어진 케이스라서, 시니어 분 다른 분도 계시고 하지만 사실상, 그리고 솔라나는 사실상 좀 글로벌 체인이기 때문에 한국에 두세 명을 놓는 게 가능했었어요. 근데 신생 프로젝트에서 한국에 한 명을 넣을 때 주니어를 놓느냐? 보통은 돈을 주고서라도 시니어를 좀 많이 하려고 해요. 근데 저는 개인적으로 추천을 드리는 거는 사실 굉장히 글로벌한 기업들이 많거든요. 그러니까 꼭 재단이 아니더라도 사실 프로토콜 레벨이나 아니면 뭐 프로덕트 단에서 이제 좀 인턴이나 이런 인턴십 같은 것들을 뽑을 기회가 있어요. 그래서 저는 차라리 그러니까 검증된 사람으로 보여주려면 사실은 특정 유명한 웹3 회사에서 인턴을 한다던가 아니면 학회에서 굉장히 열심히 활동을 한다던가 이 둘 중에 하나인 것 같아요. 저는 이와체인에서 이렇게 학회장을 하다가 사실 오퍼를 받아서 솔라나에 들어온 거고, 그리고 다른 분들 같은 경우에는 이제 뭐 인턴십이나 그런 이제 뭐 커뮤니티 매니저 아니면 엠버서더도 굉장히 좋은 것 같아요.
맞아요.
이런 초기에 이런 프로젝트에서 하다가 능력을 인정받고 이제 풀타임으로 들어가는 경우가 많은 것 같아서, 그래서 저는 그래서 사실 한국에서 제가 계속 제너럴리스트를 언급한 게 사실은 이제 모든 거를 다 해서 하는 한 명이 한국에서의 한 명이 되어야 아니면 아시아 시장에서 한 명이 되어야 사실 웹3를 조금 더 이제 학생 입장에서 졸업하고 바로 이제 들어가기에는 조금 그게 부분이 제일 쉽지 현실적으로는 제가 너무 현실적인가요? 현실적으로는 굉장히 더 쉬운 것 같습니다.
너무 공감이 가는 게 만약에 저도 이제 새로 직장을 구한다고 생각을 한다면 한국에서 뭔가 시작을 한다? 저는 제가 이력서도 못 넣을 것 같거든요. 근데 예를 들어서 뭐 주피터 덱스나 아니면 원인치의 모더레이터가 돼서 코어팀 눈에 띈다. 이거는 사실 생각보다 쉬운 일이거든요. 그래서 뭔가 저는 늘 주변에 웹2에서 웹3 혹은 그냥 뭐 삼성 대기업 같은 데 지원하려다가 웹3로 갈까 고민하는 친구들이나 뭐 가족 중에도 있는데 보면은 늘 그 망설임이 되게 걸림돌이 된다고 느껴지거든요. 뭔가 형식화되고 아니면 뭔가 안정적이고 뭐 이렇게 좀 그런 말을 하기 그렇지만 뭐 4대 보험 다 있어야 되고 이런 위험 프로파일이 아예 없으려면 웹3에 오지 않는 게 많고 만약에 그거를 웹3에 온다는 거는 그런 리스크 프로파일을 감수할 의향이 있다는 거기 때문에 조금 더 어떤 불확실성이나 좀 유연한 노동 혹은 노동 형태 다오에서 일을 한다든지 리모트로 일을 한다든지 이런 거에 훨씬 더 열린 상태로 좀 접근하시면 기회가 훨씬 많지 않나 그런 생각이 들어요.
So I came to Web3 like right much after I had an extensive career. So I was in telecommunications and in banking, which insures 4대 보험 very extensively, and the insurance was amazing and the welfare was amazing. But still, I just like came out of that and just like now I'm in a pool of uncertainty and volatility. But I think the beauty of this Web3 is you can pioneer your way into it. You can pave your own way, and you can make your own career, which is really fascinating. And you can make your own role as well. And I can't even define myself, right? What do you do? I don't know. I'm a coordinator. I'm a host. I'm a whatever. And I think that's the beauty of Web3, and you can really find your second career as well. And also do the work as well. 저는 이렇게 무료로 일을 많이 했어요. 처음에 저는 봉사도 하겠다고 얘기를 몇 년간 했어요, 사실은. 그러니까 돈을 바로 바라지 않는 게 저는 솔직히 많이 페이오프를 한 것 같아요. 그러니까 바로 정말 사실 크립토가 돈에 약간 미쳐 이런 말은 그런데 돈으로 돌아가는 정말 coins and profit 이런 쪽으로 많이 좀 치중이 돼 있는 업계이기도 한데 사실 sincerity really shows and really the passion to gain knowledge and learn and gain trust is very rare also in crypto. And I really gained my reputation through volunteering. I was volunteering at ETHCC, ETH Denver. That's why I'm friends with the organizers, right? And gain trust from them. So I think it really does show off. It took many, many years, but I think it really is paying off. So just sharing my 2 cents as well. All right. Our time is up, but thank you so much for a wonderful panel. And 박수 한번 부탁드리겠습니다.